Welcome to the Ecosystem Effect. My name is Victoria Ross, and today we're going to be sitting with Greg Fortier of SAIC. He is the Senior VP. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Good. Glad to hear it. So to kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about your current role at SAIC and what mission integration means? Because I saw it all over the website.
Sure.
So I want you to go a little bit into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my current role for SAIC is I have the privilege to run one of our markets, which is the aviation and fires market, based here out of Huntsville, Alabama. It has tentacles across many of the United States and many different areas of business. Also serve as the community representative for the company across the greater Huntsville area. We have about 10% of our company works here, our employees, and about 12 to 14% of the revenue for the entire company is run here right out of Huntsville.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, so mission integration, right? So mission integration, it's that intersection between technology and whatever the requirement or whatever the mission is. So what I say to people all the time, and I'm a former military serviceman, we're the translators between the technologists and the people that have to employ that technology, whatever that be. Whether it's in the Army, Navy, or Department of War, then that's a mission type of application there, or some sort of military application. But there's also other missions like citizen experience, border of the future, some of those national imperatives that are so critical for our livelihood in this great country that we live in.
Okay, so to clarify, so basically you guys are like the bridge between the technology and the people that are going to be using it.
Yes, or the mission, or we're tying other disparate technologies together as well, right? So our CEO, Ms. Tony Towns-Whitley, talks all the time about, technology may win a battle, but an ecosystem will win the war. So when we talk about mission integration, we talk about ecosystems, we talk about having experience in that ecosystem and also the expertise to employ ourselves. So it's the 3 E's, right? It's having that experience.
Love that.
We've got 50 years of experience here in Huntsville specifically, and the company's been around for even longer than that. We've got an expertise and a workforce that's been honed over many, many years, who are extremely skilled in multiple disciplines, whether it's modeling and simulation, whether it's software development, whether it's hardware in the loop, aviation, or missiles, where we tie things together so that we just get that desired mission outcome.
Awesome. I love that. And I love how you use the word ecosystem. Like, that's just so good. Love it. So SAIC operates at the intersection of government, technology, and national security. So how do you see Huntsville and regions that are similar to ours contributing to that broader mission?
Yeah, Huntsville specifically in the Rocket City, look no further than Redstone Arsenal, where we have 75 different tenant organizations that operate within, in and around, and as a part of that Redstone Arsenal ecosystem. So we're tying those pieces together. We're servicing customers, whether it be in the Aviation and Missile Center, in the laboratory environment, with the FBI and our civilian type business, Missile Defense Agency, Space and Missile Defense Command. We're making, we're leveraging our core capabilities and our expertise across the multitude of different tenant organizations to drive those mission outcomes. You take Redstone Arsenal, and then that's another subset of the greater Huntsville ecosystem, where you have the research park and various industry partners, and of course we're sitting here today, UAH and academia.
Yeah, awesome. It seems like very, very broad. I feel like, so on one end I'm thinking like, military, like you said, Redstone Arsenal. What would be an example of the complete opposite end?
Of a non-military application?
Yes.
Yeah, so I could say, for example, a counter-UAS capability. So a counter-UAS capability, you would think it's applied strictly to the military.
Yeah.
Because you take it to wherever and you're trying to counter any kind of offensive threat. Counter-UAS also applies, and we've been doing this for many, many years, better part of 15, 16 years, to the 2012 Olympics in London. Where the Olympics are going on, we employ that counter-UAS technology to execute safety and security of our nation. We know Los Angeles Olympics in 2028 will be forthcoming. We hope to be a part of that. Also, border of the future, securing that southern border, providing those critical technologies, also securing critical infrastructure across our country, whether it's the Department of Energy, even here in the Tennessee Valley, the Tennessee Valley Authority, Huntsville International Airport, everything that applies along the way. So you take a software capability and a a development program like our counter UAS software, and you can tie existing networks, existing systems, existing softwares, existing hardware, all together to give a mission outcome as a mission integrator, and then all the while making sure that it's truly open in a modular open systems environment where we can plug and play now different sensors and effectors appropriately.
That's really cool. That was a good example because that is like complete opposite. I would have never guessed that. That's very cool. Okay, so one of the core missions of I²C is to create real-world opportunities for collaboration across industry, academia, and startups. So how important is that kind of cross-sector partnership with the work that SAIC does?
Absolutely. So our work here and our collaboration with UAH has gone over the course of many years. We're also a corporate sponsor of the I²C specifically, and as you know, last Friday we had that Defense Industrial Base Day with AWS, with SAIC, and many other industry partners. So these are the type of venues, these are the type of situations and environments that we want to be a part of, facilitate, and make sure you bring the best of breed in and out of those different forms, because you never know who may have a different outcome or an idea or something that you can bring into the equation, and who can be a part of your ecosystem that you didn't already know or didn't already have. And then it's not only the ecosystem that you're building, it's within that ecosystem there's a competitive environment that shapes up, and then you're competing in a very collaborative and in a very healthy fashion to drive those outcomes.
Yeah, you're right. And when you were talking, one thing I was thinking about is like relationship building. You know,
100%.
it's definitely relationship building, which is really important. So you've seen the way large-scale systems must adapt quickly, whether it's through AI, multi-cloud, or digital engineering. How does that same adaptability apply to people and leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. This is obviously a topic I'm very passionate about, because the people are everything, and they can trace them through each facet of our business, each facet of the relationship, each facet of our leadership pipeline, who we are, who we've been, and who we're going to be. So as the technology evolves and becomes more advanced, I offer that our leadership and our PMs and our technical workforce has to continue to do that. We talk all the time about a triple threat personality, so somebody that we can get on board that understands the mission, understands the customer's problems more specifically, and then can go solve those problems appropriately and be that triple threat. We've invested heavily in our workforce. We'll continue to invest heavily in our workforce to upskill our workforce and to give them the knowledge, skills, and abilities and the tools to round out each pieces of those threats. So in today's day and age, in 2025, I think it's pretty safe to say that change and relevance are pretty linear.
Yeah.
So if you don't like to change, or you don't like to learn how to be adaptable, you're going to have a hard time remaining relevant and remaining to be who we are, SAIC proper, or any individual that's trying to get out into the workforce.
In general, yeah. Like I'm just thinking about like just becoming an adult. Just like living your life and being a better person and growing efficiently. You have to be okay with those two things for sure. So what are some real examples of innovation or integration success that started at local or regional level and ended up making national impact? I know you mentioned, for example, the Olympics. So like something like that, like another example.
Yeah, so there's a few applications come off the top of the head right here. Born and bred in Huntsville, Alabama. The Black Hawk helicopter, the Black Hawk aircrew trainer, is a training system that was developed. Well, the aircraft is produced by Sikorsky, Lockheed Martin Sikorsky up in Connecticut. The training system is produced right here in Redstone Arsenal, and it's produced by, it's called the Black Hawk Aircrew Trainer, produced by the Aviation and Missile Center. SAIC is very privileged to be a part of that, to support the Aviation and Missile Center through that endeavor. But these trainers, these simulators, these Black Hawks in a box, if you will, are designed, developed, and delivered right here on the Arsenal. And then they're infused with the latest technologies, the latest graphics technology, the latest flight simulation technologies, then shipped off to various units, Army units and Navy units all across the globe. So these units show up, these Black Hawk aircrew trainers show up, and they're on site with that organization, having a real-time impact, not only from the keep your skills sharp perspective, but also whether you may or may not have appropriate flying hours to execute in a given day, week, or month. You can jump in the Black Hawk aircraft trainer and stay proficient, stay sharp along the way. So that's just one small example of something local here that has pretty significant reach. We also have a Joint Simulations Integration Lab for unmanned area vehicles, and again, it's accreditation and certification for interoperability that ties all over the user community, whether it be in any theater of operation. That could be Indo-Pacific, Hawaii, it could be Europe, it could be United States, or what have you.
Wow. So I'm from Silicon Valley, and when you're there, you feel like it's the techiest place ever, and we're just so cool, we do all the things, but Huntsville is consistently surprising me, and like I think we're very underrated. There's some very cool things happening here, like very, very cool.
Yeah, and we pride ourselves at SAIC as being the quiet professional, that mission integrator, the people that make things happen behind the scenes in support of our in this case, the national defense, but also, as I said, in the civilian community, FBI, Missile Defense Agency, Space and Missile Defense Command. Our DNA, the SAIC DNA, is woven throughout the fabric of the community.
Yeah, it is. That's why when I met you at Leadership Huntsville, and then I also had heard from Billy a couple days before, it wasn't until I heard you speak that I was like, wait, SAIC. I was like, don't they sponsor my job? I was like, they're literally everywhere. I love it. I love it. So we often hear that innovation moves at the speed of trust. So how important is relationship building in ecosystems like Huntsville, and how do you approach it personally? This kind of goes into what we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in a place like Huntsville, although it is a large community and continues to grow as we see, and we see the traffic out there on I-565 is building over the years. It still is very much a small town, and it still is very much all based on those relationships and based on being able to, who do you eat breakfast with, who do you go to church with, who do you see at different venues. Last night I was at the Chamber of Commerce annual outing down at Ditto Landing and saw a bunch of folks that have had many years worth of relationships. I first moved to Huntsville back in 2010, so I've been in and out of the community in my military journey along the way, but those relationships are enduring. So much of what we do, so much of how we communicate, whether it's verbally, non-verbally, is all based on building that trust. And as we know, we can be innovative, we can have tremendous technology, but if we can't move at the speed of trust, then we're going to be limited in some fashion. So it's not only building trust in the community, it's building trust with your customer. And then certainly in my organization, I have well over 2,000 people that work for me here in Huntsville. I've got to build trust at many different layers of the organization, and make sure you got the right people in the right places along the way. So honest and open dialogue, have a tough conversation if you need to. One of the coolest parts, again, about SAIC is we're trying to solve the problem. Whatever the problem is, whatever the customer's problem is, the pain points are, we're going to try to get after that. We're not going to try to sell you something, right? We're going to try to solve your problem for you, and it's pretty powerful.
It is. It is. I keep thinking back to Leadership Greater Huntsville and just how you guys sponsored that and how you guys were there on the panel and gave us good information, and Billy opened up. He was one of the first people we heard from. That was building trust. You know what I mean? Just being there for us, caring about the leaders in the community. It left an impact on me for sure, and I'm sure others as well.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So Huntsville is a place where tradition and transformation often overlap. How do you strike a balance between legacy systems and future-focused innovation?
Well, that's everything, right? Certainly in the Department of War now, there will be some component of legacy systems that will endure for the next couple of decades just because of the size of our military and what we need to get done. At the same time, we need to understand and really appreciate the different changing mission sets, how the requirements are changing, and how we can be innovative to attack those requirements. So it's something as if a legacy piece of software that may control a fires application or some sort of fire control. Yes, it's there. Yes, it's present. Yes, it's going to be present. But how do we write the next generation of software that can integrate with it and bring in those new types of technologies, whether they be AI enabled, ML enabled, or whether it just be a different way to approach the problem. When I was in the Army many years ago, I flew helicopters, and my single pane display in my helicopter had 5 buttons on the left side and 5 buttons on the right side. I had 364 pages of different screens to get to, and I had to exercise a combination of the left third button and the right second button, and then the left first button and the right fifth button to get to the different pages. Nowadays it's different, right? So it's all about flip. You can have the phone on you, and you can flip that down and get a situational awareness, whether it be just a general situational awareness or something like next gen command and control. How do we infuse ourselves? How do we write an app now to interface with those legacy systems to be innovative, but at the same time tie into the legacy system? I liken it to in Huntsville, a lot of people still go to the Blue Plate Cafe, right? It's been there a long time, right? It's legacy, right? It's going to be there a long time. But there's other places we can go eat breakfast as well. We can transform, and we can try to tie those things together appropriately.
Yeah. That's got to be hard, though, because you mentioned AI. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see AI coming at all. So the type of people that you have to have, or the type of people you have in place that can look forward like that and prepare for that, like that is a skill.
Well, it is, and it's also a lot of people who are intellectually curious, which is it's just an invaluable trait. It is. A place like SAIC, we've been solving the toughest problems for many, many years, so we naturally attract people who are intellectually curious, and quite frankly, it's why I was drawn to the company. That piece and the mission integration piece is exactly why I am where I am and why I like to do the work that I do. So all that to say, you know what you're doing, you know your core tasks, you know how to deliver, but you're curious about what's next, and you're not just scrolling on your phone, reading a news article or two. You're actually digging into the problem, asking questions, and really trying to understand.
That is not everybody has that, or at least they don't have it for everything. They have it for certain things. Very cool. Okay, so what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs or engineers at a place like I²C who want to build solutions that could one day serve government or national missions?
Yeah, so we're all familiar with the Simon Sinek Start With Why. I would say start with the problem. Don't start with I thought about this and I built a solution and I want to sell it and I want to force the application into whatever the case may be. Start with the other way. Come at it where you're ingesting yourself into the ecosystem, the I²C community or wherever. Plug into the small business, plug into the large business, plug into the medium-sized businesses. Understand where the pain points are, understand where the problem sets present themselves, understand the customer base, and then say, okay, I do this because I like to do whatever it is. How can I do that to help solve this problem? And then pitch it accordingly. That will immediately build trust. It will display a level of precision that I think sometimes get lost in the entrepreneurs or young small businesses. It shows that you're incredibly prepared. It shows that you're willing to be innovative. And then the last piece of it is just like anything else. You have to be relentless in your pursuit of solving that problem and delivering and adding value. Yeah,
it sounds so simple, but usually people do it the other way around, which doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, we see it all the time. And in fact, even in SAIC, there's some solutions that we have organically that are tremendous solutions across our company and across the greater business groups that are under the umbrella of SAIC. Not all of them apply to each of the business groups. So for me as a leader, I have to understand which solutions are applicable. Will they help solve my customers' problems? And then I'll market them. But if not, we'll go at it a different way, and we'll try to solve the problem first, and then maybe develop a solution.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that was a great answer. I love that. So, as someone who has worked at the national level but sees value in the local, what excites you most about the role regional innovation hubs will play in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think we're watching it all across the United States, right? And I think we just had a delegation that I brought down, I invited down from Fayetteville, North Carolina, down here to Huntsville to show them that local, regional, and then the tie to the greater national connection. I look no further than Alabama School for Cyber Technology and Engineering, very much a local, state, Alabama idea that then you cultivate and you grow, and now you're proliferating those local folks into the local Huntsville community, but a larger exposure to the national company and a $7.5 billion company like SAIC that has footprint everywhere. Whether it's in Charleston, South Carolina, whether it's in Crane, Indiana, San Diego, Colorado, Hawaii, El Paso, Texas, Arkansas, you name it, we're there.
Yeah.
That tie is critically important. It's also you're homegrown, you're local. You can build your initial base and your knowledge and your skills, but then you can map that appropriately to whatever the next thing is and on the national side. So again, I brought that delegation down to Fayetteville. They're going at it a little bit differently, and they're taking local community colleges and they're building a consortium of technical community colleges together to get at the problem that way, right? And then maybe that model will be picked up in more of a national model or what have you. And then you get to see these different nodes expand, and then eventually there's some connective tissue where you can tie them all together.
Ecosystem.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that was my last question. As always, I really enjoy hearing from you. You always have really insightful things to say. I was so excited to have you on this podcast. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to do it.
Yeah. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys later, and stay tuned for our next episode. See you later.